Thank you for clicking on the video. Welcome back to the channel. This is another review for Accused. This is episode 8, Laura's story. And I really just got going with the show, and I really feel like it's finna be off. Why y'all ain't tell me about it? Y'all ain't tell me about it, and so I binged it. And I now feel like that's finna be it. So y'all got 2 good reviews off of Accused. But anyway, if there's a second season, we'll be back for that. Anyway, Laura's story. So Laura, of course, we start out in the courtroom with every episode, and her son runs out of the courtroom while she's being sworn in. Of course, we got to go back in the past, excuse me. She's a professor, and it's obvious that she's been away for some time and she's back. The energy is kind of off in the place, and it's due to the fact that she lost her son. Her son was killed along with other students at his middle school. And so she's kind of short-tempered. Y'all already know what that gives. At the house, her other son, Jonah, he's in his room. He's in a funk as well. Everybody, this must have, it's fairly recent. It's fairly recent. Like, everybody, they're just now getting back into the swing of things, going back to school. She's going back to work, all of that. His dad comes in and checks on him, letting him know your mama is always there. I know she hasn't been the easiest to reach lately, but she's always there for you. And he tells his son that they're gonna head out. The two of them are gonna go, and she has an interview, and he's kind of annoyed. Their son, he's like, she doing another interview, and her husband, just makes excuses for her because he gonna ride with his wife. When they get in the car, she asks about Jonah, like, so how's he doing? He was like, well, you could have just asked him yourself. And she's like, well, what's that supposed to mean? I mean, but honestly, girl, if you were concerned, you could have you can go and talk to your son. You can do that. But she says it's been hard. And I understand that. I'm sure that you would like have to bring yourself to engage and interact with the other child, because how can you do that without thinking about the one that's not there anymore? Like, it would probably be very torturous, but you have to, I don't know. I've never lived through that. I pray to God that I don't have to live through that. And so I can't imagine. I really can't. The dad suggests that she help him with, some of his missing homework so that they can have, spend some time together. She says she been meaning to, but like I said, she said it's been hard. At the house, Jonah, he's watching his mom's interview that she's doing, and she, she's telling the story. Her son was in middle school, when all of this happened, and right now she's focusing on trying to change these laws, these gun laws and all of that. And then the interview flips it and wants to talk about all of the internet chatter about this being a hoax and that no children were killed. You know what they were saying about Sandy Hook, trying to make it seem like the people there were actors. The conspiracy theories. People have conspiracy theories. And she gonna play a little clip of somebody and their conspiracy theory. And so she plays the clip and, basically baiting her. So what you think about that? That lady on there just spewing out all these conspiracy theories. She blaming the government. She says that it was staged and that she ain't trying to, have the government coming up in her house, taking her guns, all that. Violating her Second Amendment right. Okay, girl. The interviewer, not the interviewer, but when she's asked that, I assume she goes off, but we don't see her response to what the people had to say on the internet. But the lady was calling it all fake. She was calling it all fake. Laura and her family, they have dinner, and Jonah, like I said, is not really feeling all of this whole this whole interview tour, press tour that his mom has been on. And he feels like she's, just trying to do damage control, and the people are already, against them. Like, they don't want any more negative attention on the family. Because the folks is rallying against her. Like nobody, that they're not rallying together in support of her and what she's trying to do. The ones that don't take our guns. The ones, her son gets all indignant, talking about you should have checked Twitter before this. The people have been saying this. The people have been having these feelings, and you choose to ignore it, and just you on TV constantly talking about this, riling up the people, and it's not helping. It's not helping. She holds up the phone, showing him, what's been said on the internet. And she's just like, about that, like, I don't want this to be his memory. I don't want his name to be associated with this, because this is not who Liam was. And so we have to change the narrative. We have to do that. So she feels like it's a fight at this point. She don't want those images associated with her baby. Jonah gonna say, well, somehow I don't think he cares. And he gets up and walks out. In present time, at the courthouse, Jonah's standing outside the courtroom about to have a panic attack. He said he about to throw up all that. His stomach hurt. His dad comes out there, calms him down, and then they go back outside. Then they go back inside the courtroom. Laura and her husband, this is in the past now. They are they're at a support group. They're at a meeting trying to get everybody to come together basically for the fight. For the fight against the trolls. She wants to really look at these people in the eye. She want to hold another kind of press conference situation. Oh, guys, I'm sorry. We're when it started to get warm, here come the yard people. here come the yard people doing the line. So I apologize for the lawnmower in the background. Anyway, when she gets there, because she wants to talk to the people, she goes out there to address the crowd, because they gonna have to tell her to her face that her son ain't real. And she addresses the crowd, tell them that she brought evidence and all of that of his entire existence. And she opens the floor for questions. And one guy asks, okay, well, why weren't there any helicopters? If 6 to 8 kids were bleeding out, where were the helicopters? And she tells them where the nearest hospital didn't have helicopters. The ambulance were called, and they had to wait on the ambulance. Another lady asked, well, why aren't you suing the first responders? I heard it took them hours to come. And her husband is like, nah, it didn't take that long. They were there faster than that. And in their son's case, there was really nothing that they could do for him anyway. Another woman says that she has 3 kids, and she just can't believe that this thing that continues to happen, the mass shootings, like, she can't believe that this many people want to kill kids. Like, she just can't believe it. It has to be a hoax. It has to be something that the government is doing to get the people going. Has to. The lady from the clip, Miss Thiem from the clip, I think her name is Meredith. Anyway, I'm gonna call her Miss Thiem. Miss Thiem from the clip. She steps forward, and she says, "So what about your maiden name, Birkenheimer?" And Laura looks puzzled, like, "What? What about it?" And she said, "Is it just a coincidence that there's a Swedish lobbyist with the same last name as you, who tried to outlaw firearms in 3 different European countries?" And she's like, "I'm from Scranton, Ohio." And she was like, "And I can show you my passport." She's like, "Passports can be forged. I'm not buying that. Let's see the room where it all happened." And they all try to walk towards the school, and she's like, "I ain't even been able to get in there. It's a murder. People were killed there. It's not just open for business." Them people crazy. And then she says, "Except that it wasn't your kid, because you adopted him, right?" And it's like, what does that have to do with anything? She's like, "Do you have the adoption papers or whatever?" And Laura explains she has to, go further and explain her medical history and all of her miscarriages and all of that. And I'm like, girl, you doing too much. You're doing too much explaining of yourself to this crazy lady when it's really none of her business. She can believe whatever she want to believe. She can believe it's a hoax, girl. Why you... That's such a small percent of the population. Please, I wouldn't even care. I would not be wasting my time on them trolls. But sis say, you not about to talk about my baby. You not about to say he ain't real or never existed. Girl, no, we're not doing that. Laura and her gang, they just pack it up and leave. Like, it's really not worth it to talk to them because they asking for the coroner's report, all that. Anyway, Laura, she's still getting dragged online. Of course, her husband, he calls and tells her that she has to come home. She was at work, and the problem is that the people have doxed them. They have their phone numbers, they have their social security numbers, address, all of that. So, like, get home now. Laura and her husband, they go and they tell the police, reporting the threats from all the people that, she's been receiving all these threats from all these people who think that this is fake, that this is a hoax. And then the police tells them, well, you might need to get a gun, Jonah is listening. Oh, no, wait. I think I jumped ahead. She's talking to the police, but this is not when they're not at the precinct. They're at her house. My bad. Because they have to go back and forth to the police a couple of times behind Miss Thing and all her friends. But this particular time, she's showing the police what's been said about, her son and what's been said online and all of that. And Jonah, he's on the stairs listening to the whole conversation. The police, they suggest that they get somewhere else to stay, like go to a hotel or something. And so, of course, that's what they do. First, though, her husband is like, why don't we go stay with my parents? She's like, we're not doing that. She don't want to leave to begin with because she don't want to leave her job. She don't want to, uproot Jonah, all of that. She's just not with that. She's ready for the fight. She's at work. And a colleague, comes in. They have coffee. She tells her that some of the parents have found out about the little support group, so they may have to shut that down. They're scared of becoming targets. Laura, she shares with the lady her adoption story. She was initially only going to adopt one child, but then she found out that he had a brother that was 2 years older, and so she couldn't separate the two. She's just a mama. This is just showing that she's just a mama trying to protect her children. Jonah, he's riding his bike home. And then here come this car following behind him. They approached him first, and then they just following him. Jonah, looking back and starts pedaling faster. Them people pull up beside him. Somebody roll down the window and throw a soda can at his face. Knock him off his bike and everything. They could have killed him. Had they hit him in his temple the right way, he would be gone. Just like that. Because it wasn't an empty can of soda, of course. Because he had a nice little bruise right here. People crazy. So you taking this out on the child? What is wrong with y'all? Listen, they were Trump supporters, of course. They were Trump supporters on speed. Anyway, he get home, and of course he crying and everything, and his daddy like, you're safe, trust me, you're safe, we're gonna keep you safe. Listen, the gun brigade ain't letting up, so y'all might want to move. Laura and her husband now are at the police station reporting all of the harassment yet again, and the officer suggests this time that they get a gun. She say, no, that's not happening at all. I'm like, girl, you better listen to him. I know you said you against it, but you listen, girl. Not when people running up on your child. They know where you live. They have your social security number. Come on. You need the gun. When the detective leaves, her husband, he thinks that it's a good idea. I think we either get out of Dodge or something. And she thinks that running won't help. They'll just find them again. She can't let them win. And her husband is like, they've already won. Do you see what we're dealing with? But she's like, I'm not running. I'm not finna be running around like I'm a fugitive. But girl, you need to open up your eyes. Her husband, when he leaves out of the room, he go into the bedroom and pulls down his safe, do on the keypad, and there's a gun inside, of course. So he already done got a gun. Talking about talking about what they need to do, and he already done got one. I know that's right, husband. He got to protect his family. But while he's putting it away, Jonah walks in and catches him. He catches him, but don't catch him. You know, like, he saw him. He saw him. Them kids ain't stupid. He saw him. Laura comes in, and she and Jonah gonna go out on a drive. I don't know where they was going, but they driving and talking or whatever. And she's just trying to tell him, trying to get him to understand where her headspace has been, and that she's always there for him, and that she loves him and supports him, blah, 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 blah. All of that mother-son bonding. And she just worries about, something happening to him as well. While they're driving, they pull up to the lynch mob, crowded around, talking about no more lies, with their protest signs and all of that. Laura gets out the car. She runs up on Miss Thing and grabs her up like that. Get out of here. The lady's like, oh, you assaulted me. A Karen gonna Karen wherever they at. Okay? It don't matter black, brown, white, whatever. A Karen gonna Karen in any circumstance. And that's exactly what she did. She assaulted me, girl. Get out of here. Because she snatched the bullhorn out of her hand and smashed it on the ground. And that's what she was calling assault. She ain't assault you yet. She assaulted you when she yanked your ass up by all your clothes right here. Anyway, they have an exchange of words, of course, and Miss Thing, she says she won't charges pressed against that bitch. So they did arrest Laura, and Laura getting bailed out. She getting bailed out of jail. And she's also given an order of protection. The lady done put a restraining order against her. She got to stay away from Miss Thing. Back in present time, on the stand, Laura, she's being questioned about that restraining order because 3 weeks after she got the order, she was back at the lady house. And Laura was like, I never intended to harm Miss Thing. And the man is like, that's funny because you showed up with a gun. Dun, dun, dun. We flash back. Laura comes in the house with her husband, and sitting in there already with and she holding up his firearm license. Like, so what's the firearm license? What's this? When we got that? And so he has to confess, listen, it's locked up and it's safe. And she goes off, because why you ain't tell me? You ain't consult me about this. Absolutely no guns in this house. Blah, 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 blah. But he's like, we've been threatened. Our son has been attacked. Like, people are throwing things out of their car at our child. It's time we get a gun to keep ourselves safe. Daddy say we got to keep the family safe. She's like, listen, gun gotta go. I'm not having no gun in this house, period. It's got to go, period. Where is that? Show it to me. And so they go in the room, and I'm like, sir, you the man of the house. You was really supposed to put your foot down on that one, because y'all need that in the house. You needed that in the house for your safety. You absolutely did. But anyway, when they go in there to get it, safe open, gun gone. They go to check on Jonah. He gone too, window wide open. So of course they calling Jonah. Jonah riding in his Uber with the restraining order and the phone sitting on top of it. He look over at the phone ringing. It's mom calling. He answers it, and when he answers, he says, "It's okay. I'll eat when I get home. I love you," and then hangs up. And so at first I was like, did they kidnap him? What the fuck going on? No, but he was, talking in code. He was throwing folks off his scent. If they had to listen to this call again, all they was gonna hear me say was, "Oh, it's cool, mom. I'm gonna eat when I get home." Listen, Jonah on to something. Go ahead, Jonah. Go ahead, Jonah, with your alibi. Listen, Jonah say, I've been watching all the investigation Discovery. I know how to get away with it. I know how I'm going to get away with it. Anyway, we see Jonah next lurking around Miss Thing's house, and he breaks into the house. And she in there giving her dog a bath. The dog can sense danger. He can sense that somebody's in there. He starts, whimpering and all of that, and then barking. And then she pulls out her gun and walks around. And the dog is standing right outside the closet that Jonah is hiding in. She opened the door and catches him, and she plays it like she's concerned, like, "Oh, you're the whatever their last name is. You're the Smith boy." Are you okay? Are they hurting you? What's going on? Tell me what's going on. You can tell me. You can talk to me. And then next thing we see is Laura and her husband, and they pulling up to the house and running inside. But before they get in there, they hear this gunshot. When they get in, oh wait, let me see. I gotta make sure we ain't go back to the courtroom. We went to the courtroom. Back in court, she's being questioned about that phone call to Jonah, and like what was said on the call. Laura's like, I don't think he answered. He's like, oh, but he did. The call lasted 38 seconds. And her lawyer's like, objection, relevance. And he says it goes to the defendant's state of mind. Thank you very much. Now, back in the past, when Laura and her husband get inside Miss Thing's house, they find Jonah sitting down with the gun in his hand, and Miss Thing is dead on the floor. Mama jumped right into action. She tells him, you're gonna have to get Jonah out of here. Get him out of here. She started wiping down the gun, wiping stuff down. Then she calls the police and she's like, I would like to report a shooting. I shot somebody. So she took responsibility right away. Straight away. Back at the courtroom, Laura and her husband are meeting with their lawyer, and she's telling them that the ADA filed a motion to subpoena Jonah, and they want to subpoena him as a rebuttal witness. They claim that this is about the phone call, but she thinks that it's a good thing. She thinks that they're desperate, just grasping at straws, because she is none the wiser that Jonah really did shoot this lady. But I mean, they can't prove it, because Jonah's phone call, even if they did talk to him about what he said, all he said was, it's fine, I'll eat when I get home. So again, Jonah, you smart, Jonah. You smart. The lawyer thinks that, that they can't prove that she didn't act in self-defense, especially when Miss Thing had a gun herself. So they could get away with this. She asks, is murder 3 still on the table? But the lawyer's like, girl, what you talking about? Like, you can get away with this. You gonna risk it? Okay. She wants a minute with her husband, so the lawyer steps out, and she tells her husband that she got to take responsibility for this, because she is the one that brought them to this point. She's the one that's been engaging with the trolls, doing the interviews, just really putting what's it, gas on the flames. Is that what the saying was? It really just left me. Anyway, she's the one adding fuel to the fire. Same thing, right? Tomato. She's brought them to this place that they're in. If it had not been for her, it really was a trickling down situation, a snowball effect. And so she wants to take full responsibility for it. She cannot let Jonah go down for this. He wouldn't have been there if it hadn't been for her. She also owns up to the fact that she really did want to fight. She wanted an enemy, because her husband told her when he went off on her, listen, you just want an enemy. This ain't even about Liam at this point. You just want to fight somebody. You just want an enemy. And he was right. She did. And she was like, because if it wasn't for that, if I wasn't, fighting, it's just a gaping hole. So yeah, that's what she was putting the her energy towards. But it landed them in this place, and so she's just like, let me do this. Of course, he break down crying. Like, what's life gonna be? She's like, you take Jonah, you and him go away and go heal. I'm gonna be fine. Look, good behavior, all of that. I can get out soon. I ain't gonna be in there too long. Like, I don't know what the minimal sentence is for murder 3, but I assume it's not as severe as being convicted of murder 1. I don't know. But daddy was going through. He was going through. He was sad about that thing. Laura, she goes, back to court, and she enters her plea. But before that, of course, she has to say something. She tells a story about Liam, and then she apologizes to Miss Thing's family, and then she apologizes to her own family. The court accepts her plea in the 3rd degree of murder in the 3rd degree, and her husband and son sit there, weeping while she's walked out of the courtroom and back to jail. That was kind of a sad ending, like, I didn't want to see the lady go to jail. But I mean, it really was her doing. She went to jail for her son. But how he supposed to live with himself? How he he's supposed to live with himself knowing his mama done went to jail for him for a murder he committed? Somebody gonna find out. You know, that's how real life works. Somebody gonna find out, and then it's gonna be some mess. It's gonna be trouble. Anyway, I enjoyed this series, especially if this is it. This is it. I honestly feel like, then we ain't getting no episode 9 or 10. But maybe, you know, let's hope. We can just hope. But this was episode 8. Hope you all enjoyed. Be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It's Call Me Busby, and I'll chat with you later. Peace and light.